Number 6 is blockchain. Now, blockchain is a growing area of demand. However, it seems to be relegated to specific sectors similar to cloud security. When it comes to blockchain, I'm really talking about enterprise blockchain, not Bitcoin, not Monero, not Facebook Libra or anything like that. No stable coins. When it comes to enterprise blockchains, organizations are actually looking for folks that can discuss blockchain. Now, let me talk about what that really means. For example, if you're a pre-sales engineer, if you go to LinkedIn now, you will come up with blockchain in a lot of job descriptions now. Or if you're even a systems engineer or a role like that. So pre-sales, customer facing, we have to now understand it is more than just cryptos. So enterprise blockchain is really now a water cooler subject. Also too, LinkedIn in their annual report, the LinkedIn Learning annual report that is, identified blockchain as the #1 hard skill. So blockchain such as Hyperledger Fabric, Quorum, and Corda are considered enterprise blockchains. When it comes to really where the demand is, though, in blockchain, the demand is twofold. If you go to LinkedIn and you type in blockchain into jobs, you'll get probably, I don't know what it is this week or last week, but could be 4,000 roles, let's say, in the US that has blockchain in the description. That's the description. The reality is 99% of the return that you'll get on LinkedIn is not going to be like where the job is actually a blockchain architect or a blockchain trainer or a blockchain engineer or anything, or even a developer. Generally, most of the demand still in blockchain is a skill to know, not a role. And that's really the differentiating factor that I want to be clear about, because one thing as a blockchain expert who has been doing this since day one pretty much when blockchain was released, I can tell you right now, the roles are still in what I would call flux. And what that means is this: the demand is there for you to know blockchain in your current role. It's just the demand for blockchain roles is still not totally there, unless if you're a developer. This is where the demand is. So right now, being able to integrate enterprise apps with the blockchain is still a hot skill. So developers that know how to integrate, and you see this pattern again, right? Remember with Python, same thing. If you know Python, and also a lot of blockchains use Python, or at least a couple. With that said, it's really, do you know how to take an application and apply it to a blockchain, integrate it with your current enterprise? Can command over 200,000 a year. So clearly the role pays well because there is demand, but again, it's pretty limited to the expertise area. And again, it's going to be focused on areas like Python, Solidity, JavaScript, Rust, and a few more. So like Solidity is a development language that was developed specifically for Ethereum. And again, it's all about specialization in this area. So again, high salary, high demand. Also though, be warned, blockchain roles are still what I would call very targeted as far as location. So locations are going to be New York City, usually San Jose, San Francisco, London, Toronto, Singapore, a few other hubs as well. But again, you don't really see blockchain, maybe DC now a little bit, but you don't see a lot of blockchain roles in Boston or in Texas or Miami or anything like that. So what I'm trying to get at is the roles are still limited in location and scope, but the demand is there to a degree depending on what you want to do. Okay. So that's the good news. Now, I did want to point out one more thing. So with the cloud, for example, and I don't know if I put it here, did I skip over that? One thing though is a lot of companies are actually deploying their clouds on a blockchain as a service. And that's pretty much how I got into it, was because I had a customer ask about Hyperledger Fabric on AWS. And again, what I'm trying to get at is with the cloud, you may very well deploy blockchains on AWS or Azure, which have both excellent services around blockchain. Also too, now companies that do look for blockchain expertise currently now, widely actually, is Microsoft, Facebook, Google, Walmart, Bank of America, also the US government, all looking for blockchain experts. Well, like I said, it's mainly development is most of the focus. Number 5, here's another surprise, Google Cloud Platform. Now, I actually was one of the few that took the initial Google Cloud Architect exam back about 4 years ago. I was one of the first to market learning it and teaching it for that matter. I will say that things have changed quite a bit in the last year. Demand is there. Demand is going to scale, I think. And another thing too is a lot of organizations still don't realize the power of Google Cloud, but I think Google Cloud is doing a better job. Now, I think I mentioned this already. This was the highest paid certification this past year. And again, that's a survey of the GK customers that, you know, are basically cloud architects. So when it comes to Google Cloud, it's not just cloud architects. Data engineers, developers, and DevOps specialists are in very high demand. And if you go to just LinkedIn and you search for those, you'll see that Google Cloud is listed quite a bit lately. But on the other hand, you know, I don't want to say that Google Cloud has taken over the world. They're still way behind in market share, but they are gaining shares quite a bit of the market. For example, this is from 2019 Q4, and this is from Canalys. This is an analyst firm that is looking at the different cloud providers. So Google Cloud year over year, quarter over quarter, annual growth was 67%. Azure as well, and AWS has really slowed down growth as well. But again, from a market share perspective, AWS is about 7 billion, Azure is 3 billion, and Google Cloud is 1 billion. And they're pretty much tied with Alibaba. Now, again, Alibaba is more of a Chinese play than anything. Really don't see Alibaba in the US. You could use it, but it seems like it's really focused on the top 3 here. Now, what are some of the services though? Compute Engine, App Engine, Google, for example, GKE, which is Kubernetes engine. So the Kubernetes we'll talk about here. Machine learning services like Cloud ML, DevOps services as well, and TensorFlow. Number 4, AWS. Okay, it really wouldn't be fair to mention cloud platform without AWS. There's no question. Demand for AWS professionals is still there. They have the second highest salary. The skill sets that seem to be taking really the bulk of the demand right now is infrastructure as code, DevOps, cloud native, and AI. These are the services that you might want to learn if you want to get that highly paid role with AWS deployments.